What's going on, everybody? My name is Ben and welcome back to the bench for a brand new season of Sci-Fi Wednesdays. That's right, guys. A new season means new model kit, new project, new adventures to be had here on the bench. We're going to jump in today and let me show you what we're going to be building over the next few weeks. Let's start it off. Let's have some fun. So last time we had worked on a couple of TIE fighters from the Bandai vehicle set. Those were great. I had a lot of fun building those, but we're going to go ahead and continue that Star Wars vibe. We're going to jump into a new Star Wars kit. And I mean, why not, right? We've got Mandalorian Season 3 playing. We've got Bad Batch, we've got Andor, we've got Book of Boba Fett, we've got a lot of really cool Star Wars shows that are airing, and it's just getting me super psyched for Star Wars. So I thought, why not continue that trend, jump into a new Star Wars build, and this is what we're going to be building. This is the 1/48 scale AMT Naboo Starfighter. This is something I've always wanted to build, something from the original Phantom Menace movie that came out in 1999. This is one of those model kits I've always wanted to build, but I just never got around to doing it. Now though, we're going to go ahead and jump in because we've got an N1 in the Mandalorian. So I'm super excited to go ahead and build the OG N1 Starfighter from Phantom Menace. Now, opening up the box, we're greeted with basically one sheet of instructions, 2 poly bags, 1 set of clear parts, a little set of decals. You'll notice that this sprue is entirely chromed out. That is that very quintessential Naboo Starfighter look, but I don't like it. We'll probably end up stripping that chrome off and painting it. We've got 1 poly bag filled with our yellow parts as well. We have some extras like this little advertisement for the blueprinter, our clear parts or decals. So this is as close to 100% complete as possible here for these early runs of Naboo fighters, and I am super stoked to go ahead and build this. Now, they've actually re-released this kit, and I have not seen that. I don't know the part breakdown, but I'm assuming it's the same as this kit here in the box. One of these days, we will go ahead and grab that kit and we'll compare the two, but this should actually be fine for us this season. We're going to attempt to build it up and try to have some fun with it and try some new things. Now, you'll see that the instructions are very simple. We have only 4 steps. There is not much we have to assemble this to get this thing looking like a starfighter. Honestly, shouldn't be too hard to go ahead and build, but of course, you know what that means. There's room for improvement, there's room for customization, and that's what I want to go ahead and try to do. I want to add some lights, I want to add a new base, I want to have some fun with this one. So that's going to be the challenge for sure. Now, opening up the poly bags here, guys, we can take a quick look at the parts, and already just from looking at these, they look pretty decent. They're a little thick though. They are, late 90s molding, so we got a little bit of flash here and there, but it's not too bad, to be honest. We do have a nice sturdy stand, but I actually want to go ahead and forego this stand and build something that's based on the Episode 2 Attack of the Clones intro. That actually would be pretty cool to go ahead and build like a little landing pad, have this thing kind of sitting there on the landing pad, or at least levitating above the pad as these tend to do. So we've got a lot of different options, things spinning around in my brain. I'm going to try to come up with something cool, and we're just going to move on and have some fun. Now, one thing I would like to go ahead and try to do is add some lights to this, and I don't know how that's really going to work because, well, we don't have a lot of room between the fuselage and the engine pods on the end of those little short stubby wings. Just the way this is manufactured, these little fillets that come off the back of the engine, they are actually keyed into the center portion of those engine modules. So there's no gap between the cone itself and the engine. It's all blocked off with plastic. And if I wanted to go ahead and light up the N1 engines, there's actually a very thin, very small blue ring that sits right there between that cone and the engine body. And I don't know how I'm going to go ahead and do that, especially with this all being one piece. It's going to require a little bit of clever engineering and probably play around with some ideas. So that's going to be a little bit on the tough side. Not only that, but we are going to have to go ahead and feed power to 2 LEDs, one in each of the nacelles. And this wing right here, this is a 1-piece part. There is no 2 pieces. I can't sandwich these between 2. I can't trench out any one particular area and cover it up with another piece of plastic. That is impossible. This is only 1 piece, and I'd have to go ahead and string 2 wires from the body through the wing into the engine, and that is not going to be easy to do. So I might have to kind of figure something out about that. Now, the second poly bag has the chrome parts in it, and the Naboo Starfighter has these really brilliantly chromed pieces along the leading edge of the wings and on the undersurface of the fuselage. I don't like this chrome at all. There are imperfections in it. There's actually drips in the chrome. There's scuff marks. There's parts where it's been worn off. So I'm going to go ahead and strip this chrome, clean off these parts, get it down to bare plastic so I can come back in, and we can go ahead and maybe cover up some of these really, really thick recessed panel lines, take care of some of these areas, clean up all the drips, get this thing looking as pristine as possible so I can prime, hit that with that alclad base, and then come in with something like aluminum or chrome and get this thing nicely patinaed and have it looking pretty sharp. That's what I want to go ahead and do. I think I can acquire a much thinner finish and a much nicer look to it if I go ahead and paint them. So we'll just strip that chrome clean off and not even worry about it. I figure if I'm going to go ahead and light up the engines, I might as well attempt to go ahead and get everything connected and light up the cockpit as well. And that's going to be super difficult to do because you really don't have much room to go ahead and string those wires from the internals all the way to those engines. I don't know, guys. It's going to be a little challenging, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to see what I can do and try to get this thing nice, clean, and assembled, and then we'll see where we can go with the wires. Get you guys a little close-up here of the parts. This is the main fuselage. You can see we do have some detail there in the cockpit, and it actually isn't bad. It could use a little bit more detail, some side consoles, better looking seat, so we might have to just come in and cut that whole thing out and then just scratch build the entire cockpit. Add in some dials and some details and maybe some consoles and maybe a new seat. Just pull parts out of the spares box. Doesn't have to be perfect, but just get something in there that looks a little bit better that allows us to then warrant opening that canopy, sliding it forward on these little rails right here, which I'll have to scratch build so you can look down inside and see all the little details and parts. That would be awesome. Plus, I'd have to go ahead and maybe box in not only the cockpit, but also I'd have to box in that little receptacle in the back there for the astromech droid. That's going to have to be hollowed out. It's going to be reamed out, cleaned, get those nicely boxed in, get them scratch built, add in some details and dials, maybe throw some lights in there. We'll have to see how that works and then go from there. Of course, when I go ahead and place it onto the base, figure out a way to maybe support it so it looks like it's levitating, and I might be able to mount like a ladder on the side for pilot entry and exit, and that might be my supports. It also might be my channels for my wires. I don't really know how that's going to work, but that's kind of the idea that I've got. Otherwise, I just have to stick a rod out the bottom of it, and again, that's not going to look like it's levitating, so we'll have to see what I can do for sure. Now, you know I like references for any model kit I build, and this is actually a really cool reference book that I've got that I can use for this exact project. This is the Star Wars Complete Vehicle Set that shows all the vehicles, all the aircraft, fighters and whatnot, capital ships and things from the prequels all the way to the sequels. So it's got all 9 movies in there, and that's actually pretty cool. Of course, I'm only going to be focusing on the Clone Wars era stuff, so the prequels, and if you come ahead and flip through here, you can see beautiful color photos, got cutaways, got some information, part callouts. We've got a full interior for most of the vehicles that we have here, even pod racers, which I've also heard they've reissued Anakin's pod racing kit. So that might be kind of fun to get to one of these days. But if you flip towards the center, we see the Naboo cruiser, which features prominently in Attack of the Clones opening scene. And we've got the little starfighters there on the front of that. They actually plug into it like almost like a carrier. We flip it over and we can see here is the Naboo starfighter itself with a nice cutaway with showing the engine detail, the weapon details, the cockpit, all the different accoutrements, all the ribbing, all the structural stuff. And this is going to give us a really good look at what the cockpit looks like, how it's actually designed. I could actually add a lot more detail in there and just kind of have fun with it, right? It's not going to be perfectly screen accurate, and I'm hoping to get it looking just enough so that you can tell this got some details, got some action, it looks a little bit lived in, and this book can actually help quite a bit with just the externals and the internal parts. So I think that's a really cool thing. If you like Star Wars vehicles, check out the book, guys. It's absolutely fantastic. I think you get it on Amazon still. I know my girlfriend picked it up for me off of Amazon, so beautiful purchase. So check it out, highly recommended. But anyway, guys, that is it. I just wanted to give you a real quick look at the project that will be probably taken up the next couple of weeks, maybe 4 or 5 weeks. And then we have another project that's right there in the woodworks as well to go ahead and get started on. So we have a lot of kits to build. And you know what? Like I said, I know some people have been asking to maybe build something other than Star Wars or Star Trek, and I'm totally cool with that. I've actually got a couple of kits off on the side here that I've been itching to build that are not Star Wars or Star Trek. So we're going to get to those eventually. But like I said, right now, I'm just really excited about Star Wars. I'm having a blast with all the shows. So I just want to kind of continue the good vibes and build more Star Wars. So until our next episode, guys, you know the drill. Go out there, get yourself some bench time, have some fun, build something cool, and we'll see you back here on episode 2 of the Naboo Starfighter here on Sci-Fi Wednesdays. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon.